Hey everybody, it's Daniel Dickholz, author of Wavelengths, covering sci-fi in every reality. I'm actually not going to talk about my book this time. I know, you're expecting me to plug it and shamelessly talk about it, but not this time. This time I'm going to talk about something else entirely. Um, some of you may know that recently my family and I were on a trip to Amsterdam that got that really got extended uh, thanks to the Microsoft outage canceling our flight, and then we had to stick around, another few days until my wife was able to talk with somebody at United and get us a flight home after many tries. And I mean, that's a pulp adventure unto itself, really. But um, one thing that came about because we were spending so much time, uh, in an airport. I mean, we spent like 6 hours before they told us that our flight was canceled. That it gave me time to walk around the airport, go into places that sold books and magazines, as you can imagine. And I was actually looking to see about comics there, and I found something totally different that I just had to grab. No, not a copy of my book, but this. Basically, the equivalent of modern pulp. Western Story and Western Story Omnibus. And these had come as a complete surprise to me, although probably it shouldn't have. In the pulp magazine tradition, I mean, these are now more more digest size, although the regular issue is a little more floppy, and the omnibus is a little more of a regular digest. Anyway, overseas, the pulp magazine tradition continued, and especially in Germany, where one publisher still to this day is doing series characters like Jerry Cotton. Jerry Cotton is the adventures of an FBI agent in New York, and his adventures led to a film series starring George Nader, which I do recommend, checking out. The Euro spy films from the 60s, and they're a lot of fun. We have John Sinclair, Demon Hunter. Both Jerry Cotton has been kind of rebooted for audiences that might not want to sit through 40, 50 years worth of material, and so they updated him, and they've been doing some of those in English. Same thing goes for John Sinclair, Demon Hunter, which is about a Scotland Yard detective who specializes in the supernatural. And they also do Perry Rodan. Perry Rodan is the longest running science fiction series, in prose anyway. It's been going strong since the early 60s in Germany. Various times they've brought it over here. I've got a few of them right over here with nice gray Morrow cover art. Basically, Forey Ackerman back in the 70s was reprinting them like 2 issues at a time. There you go. And these two have also, that series also has undergone, a reboot for people who are less familiar, called Perry Rodan Neo, which is, I mean, these, the John Sinclair one, the Jerry Cotton one, which is rebooted as Cotton FBI. Those are all available on Amazon as ebooks in English, because they were made for you. But that's Germany. Germany, has, got all these different genres, for their modern pulps. And, I should have expected it, but I didn't, that in the nearby Netherlands, they would have pulps too. Well, let's take a quick look at the output of the publisher of Western Story. And they've got pulps about pets. They have several that are about doctors. They have, romance stories. There's the latest issue of Western Story, which obviously came out right after we left. More doctors, things set out in the countryside and other parts of the city. And if we take a quick look at their next page of their output, more doctors. This one seems to be set in medieval times. We've got kids, and there's another one about a doctor, and another one about a doctor. So apparently, doctor pulps are a big thing in the Netherlands, at least from what I can see here. Western Story seems to be the odd one out as far as anything involving action. Now, Western Story is not, as you might suspect, an anthology title. In fact, it follows the adventures. Well, I translated the description. It's about Bronson and his friend Caius, ensuring that justice prevails in the Wild West, which is always a good thing for cowboy heroes to do. By the way, this one I just had to get because that is the most Josie Wales poster swipe I've ever seen. Anyway, I did the regular monthly title, which, as you can see here, it's nice and floppy. Inside, there are no illustrations. But much of it, after the title page, it's all text, 2 columns worth, all the way through. So, Western Story, the monthly title, that has 2 stories at a time. Western Story Omnibus comes out every 8 weeks, and as you can see, features 4 stories. And I don't read Dutch, but I did have to get these, and I at least ran in the titles of the stories through Google Translate, and I did check with another translating program. So for Western Story number 35, the 2 stories are Disappeared Settlers, which sounds nice and mysterious, and 4 Villainous Villains, which I think loses something in the translation, but at least we know it's about bad guys. Now, in Western Story Omnibus, number 14, well, I'm going to read the title of the second story in there last. The first story in there translates to Brothers Without Conscience, which sounds like a pretty solid, title to me. The third story is Governor in Danger, which is a little on the prosaic side. Maybe it could have worked as, as the title of a B-movie Western from the 30s or 40s. The fourth one, Outlaws Want Revenge, which is also a little on the prosaic side. But again, it could work, as an old movie title, maybe. But the title of the second story in this collection, well, not collection, they're all brand new stories, all featuring Bronson and Cayuse. The title of the second story translated, I think, could work as a spaghetti western. I know if I saw that, I would definitely sit down and watch it. It's Pardon for the Assholes. You heard me. Pardon for the Assholes. I'd watch it. So would you. You know it. Anyway, the German pulps and these, they're not something that you would find in specialty shops. They were basically designed so that you'd have something to read when you're, while you're commuting. They were meant to be sold at, airports. They were meant to be sold at train stations. They were meant to be sold at bus stops. Something that, not a terribly long, you're not carrying around a 500-page tome. This is something just to while away the time while you get to where you're going. And I started wondering, would it be possible for something like this to be done here in the United States? And I actually had the answer with me the entire time. Moonstone Books has been doing 2 publications on a kind of infrequent schedule. Moonstone Double Shot, which features 2 stories. This one has the Green Hornet in the lead story, and the Tribunal, which is made up of 3 old pulp characters, as the second story. And Moonstone Triple Threat, which features 3 stories. In this case, it's 1 of the Green Hornet and 2 of a new character named Johnny Fade. And what was I doing with these? I was reading them on the plane. So, is this an answer to bringing back pulp type fiction? In a major commercial way? Possibly. Moonstone, stop selling to comic shops, start selling to airports and bus stops and other places. So that's it. Just some observations and just some random thoughts. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.